I mean, and of course, there's some obviously pretty strong ties, even with the name of the game, everybody's going to Rapture, to religion, specifically, Christianity. The idea that, basically one day that Jesus is going to come again and all the quote-unquote good people are going to get sucked up into heaven. And everybody else is going to languish here on earth. Something like that. It's been a while since I've been to church, folks. I was raised Southern Baptist, which don't hold me accountable for that. But sorry if I'm offending anyone. But yeah, religion's not really my bag. I'm not one of those militant atheists, though, who's like trying to convert people. I just don't really care. Like, you do whatever you want to do. I don't really care. Just don't throw it in my face. Don't force your beliefs on me, and we're cool. You can believe whatever the heck you want to believe. It's still roughly the same time. Like I say, I do really love the mystery of trying to figure out what's going on. That's why I tend to just talk a lot about what my ideas are and just kind of explore everything because I don't want to miss anything, because I want to try to figure it out on my own, even though I never really do. It's still fun it's a fun exercise. Again, a lot of...
What about the station?
That's shut down too. So there's no way in or out of the valley. They're obviously serious about this flu thing.
Phil doesn't think it's flu at all. He said he's been practicing medicine for 30 years and he's seen plenty of flu, and he said this doesn't feel right at all.
Well, there's nothing of any use on the radio.
Sorry I'm late, everyone. Have you started?
Yes, but to be honest, there's not really that much to discuss. This quarantine is in place, there's roadblocks and everything. No one really seems to know anything, but people are definitely missing. More of them too, not just a couple of old biddies. No one's seen the Sullivans since yesterday, and the house is just sitting there unlocked.
I just got back from the farm. All of Frank's cows died in the night. He's devastated.
Poor man, hasn't he had enough for 1 year? First Mary and now this.
Well, if no one's coming in to sort this mess out, we're just going to have to do it ourselves. Barbara, get Phil to do a stock take on medication. Jeremy, put the word out for people to congregate at the village hall. It's best we get everyone in one place for the time being.
That way this flu spreads much easier.
We'll have a lot of hungry mouths to feed. There's plenty at the depot, but well, let's start with what's here in the village. I'll draw up a rota. Charlie, you help me with that?
Anything for you, Meg?
I'll head out into the valley and scoop up the isolated families and check in with Lizzie Graves at the camp. Now, has anyone seen or heard anything from Stephen Appleton or his wife?
Or his wife. Didn't even really call her by name. Nice. Rubik's Cube. Unfinished. Looks like they did get a decent amount of people here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 cups. Not necessarily all used. There's a few just sitting around. So it looks like they did gather quite a few people. Summer Pete to do. Raffle prizes. Alcohol okay. No more cider. Tell Charlie. Volunteers Jeremy. Reading group. Food and drink. Blah blah blah. Emergency meeting. Oh, here's this is what we read earlier, but we couldn't read it very easily. Now we can really get it. Everyone is welcome. Village Hall tomorrow night. Flu quarantine and what they are not telling us. Call Meg or Barb. Okay, so yeah, this must be the meeting where they decided to have the meeting, and then they drew up the plans, or drew up those flyers. And put one in here just in case you didn't know, even though you're already here. This is the emergency exit, sir. Please don't use this. Locked. Which is pretty impressive since we're inside. I guess it could technically be going to some kind of supply closet or something. So people were disappearing. And again, there's that goddamn sign. I wonder... Because I thought about this before. Remember we looked at the map and we saw the little indicator? That sort of looks like that. Not quite. The one on the map looks a little bit more rigid, if you will. It looks more like the two circles are pulling up. And that looks more, like I said, like an infinity symbol or a Or, oh, great, a basement. That's where I wanted to go. Or like a butterfly.
I couldn't stop it. I couldn't do anything.
Stop it, calm down.
Get back. It's in my head. Howard, wait. Father. Father, are you all right?
It's my ankle. Oh, Jesus, Lord, I think it's broken. Howard, go and get help.
There's no one left. No one's coming to help us.
Please, Howard, fetch help.
The light. There in the light. I can see everyone in the light. Oh my God. Help me.
So it looks like he got taken there. Not Jeremy, but this dude. I forget what he said his name was. It's still glowing, wow. But yeah, he got the extra little effect. So it looks like the pastor wasn't quite taken yet. Maybe, I mean, he could have obviously been like immediately afterwards, but it sounds like by that point, as far as they knew, everybody was gone. Or just about everyone. He said he could see everyone in the light, but interesting. But anyway, I was talking earlier about, you know, obviously this is got some strong religious overtones. And again, some of this stuff is going right along with that. With him saying about how I can see them, like being taken up. They're just disappearing. Again, it's been a long time since I've been in Sunday school, but if I remember correctly, at least the Christian idea of the return of Jesus and all that was that all the good people, aka Christians, would basically be sucked up into heaven. Obviously, not quite like a vacuum, I would hope, but like they would just kind of disappear, leaving all their worldly possessions behind, blah, blah, blah. Like they wouldn't die, they would just go to heaven. And then everybody else would actually just be left here or be sent to hell. I don't know. But anyway, this kind of goes along with that. Again, people just disappearing. Just no bodies, nothing. I would think, you know, God would probably do it without the headaches and the nosebleeds. But, you know, who am I to question his awesome and mighty power and wisdom? Have I been over here? Yes. Maybe. Let me go look. You know I gotta look. It's a sickness I can't help. They did a pretty good job of making it so you can get from one area to the other. Of course, I say that as there's like the clearest path I should take there, but whatever. So that you don't have to go all the way back around. That's the store. So I was checking this Jeep because I thought I heard like a radio on, but no. We've checked that. I want to do one more thing again. See, that's sort of that same pattern, right? You can, if you squint a little bit, you kind of see the infinity thing going on. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but I want to see if I can. All right, I tried moving the controller to simulate that again. I just want to see if I could do it, because again, even off camera, I would like to be able to listen to some of those again. That is one thing I wish this game did have, was the ability to re-listen to some of the audio stuff, because again, I'm going to miss some of this for sure. But anyway, let's continue going up this road and we'll continue going around. I feel like there was probably some houses down there I didn't look at, but I'll double back. And again, if it gets a little bit too backtracky, I'll cut it out, which I realize I just backtracked. But see, I was talking during it, cleverly disguising it. SV. But yeah, so it sounds like the quarantine might have been over a couple of days, because the way I had at least envisioned it in my head initially was that it was like really fast, right? Like they came down.
Just have a word with them, perhaps. They listen to you.
Well, I really don't see what it has to do with me at all.
The village looks up to you. I just think with what's been happening with Mr. Coles and Mrs. Boughton and the others, that people need somewhere to talk, to feel safe.
Perhaps they don't think that your church is somewhere they feel particularly safe.
I don't need your forgiveness, Wendy, or theirs. Whosoever thou art that judgest, for wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself. Romans
Owned.
chapter 2, verse 1.
Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them. Matthew chapter 6, verse 1. It's not my judgment you should be worried about, Father. But fine. I'll talk to Barbara. Ask her to put a note up in the surgery about an extra service. Will that do?
Well, I must admit, Isn't Wendy the one who... Sorry, my back itched. Isn't Barbara the one who questioned him about the morphine? I think it is. I mean, that would make sense with the accusation, right? The whole, like, judgment and all that shit, you know, that she was kind of doing on him. Just because he killed a woman with extra morphine, what gives you the right? But, yeah, I think that was her who approached him. But I'm not quite sure what they were talking about there. I hear another radio, by the way, but that sounds like it's kind of far away. But yeah, going back to the quarantine and the timing of said quarantine, I really feel like it was... My initial thought was, oh, like, they called for the quarantine, and the quarantine was in place very, very quickly, like sub 24 hours. And, sorry. I just randomly thought, I'm going to try interacting with those chairs. But, and then very shortly thereafter, everything, like, really went to hell. But now I'm getting the impression that the quarantine might have been in place for, like, a couple of days. So, like the thing happened. The event happened. The scientists were like, oh crap, we've got to throw a quarantine down. This is not good. Got the quarantine in place pretty quickly. But then the quarantine was in place for a few days. And they said, oh, it's the flu. We think it's the flu. Really bad case of influenza. You guys can't go anywhere. And then people started, like, disappearing. Oh, I thought it started to open for a second. I want to ring the doorbell. Fine. But then people started disappearing, and then people are like, wait, what the hell's going on? Like, you're saying it's influenza. The doctor obviously had a chance to see some of these people, right? Because she said something about how the doctor said it was like nothing he'd ever seen before. Nothing like no version of influenza or no strain of influenza he's ever seen. So enough time for all of this to go down and for people to start going, something's effed up here. And so that's why I'm thinking it's been a few days. And that's why I think there was enough time for them to go, oh, wait, we need to stamp out the phones, too. The only thing that doesn't make sense in that... One second. Okay. That was also a duplicate. Interesting that we're getting dupes now.
It wasn't just some distortion of physics. I may not understand it yet, but it wasn't an accident. All of the clocks, what happened at Tower 6, it's just not random. There's an effort. An attempt to communicate.
That might explain the clocks being stopped. That's why I'm thinking like the time was set as like 6 something. Because it might not be dark yet at 6, depending on the time of year or whatever. But the sun is pretty high in the sky, and I don't want to make like I'm good at knowing that kind of stuff, because I sure as hell don't, because I try not to go outside a whole lot. And I'm a shut-in. So, but it does seem pretty high in the sky for it to be 6 o'clock to me. That's why I'm thinking like the clocks have stopped, or something else strange happened with the clocks. Where are you at? Damn it. UK oil. UK Earl. $175 a gallon. Damn. One thing I was going to say, though, it kind of hurts my perception or my theory about the quarantine is do not attempt to telephone outside your local area. Now, if the phone thing was only discovered later, then they would have had to put up whole new signs, right? They wouldn't have thought, like, if they thought it was just some kind of weird disease or something like that and didn't know about the phones, why would you put up a sign that says you can't call anybody? That wouldn't make a lot of sense, right? So that's why I think, well, maybe they came up later and were like, oh shit, we need to put new signs up that says no calling, as well as don't go anywhere. I don't know. One thing that I wish I'd have noted now was that if I'd have noticed some of the signs maybe don't have that on there, like maybe some of the signs don't mention the not being able to call out. I think I'm probably thinking a little too heavily on that angle. I don't know.
Meg, come and have a look at this.
Oh, I don't believe it. Charlie?
Jeremy reckons someone had been raiding all the empty houses. He said a load of stuff had been taken.
What's up?
Oh, it looks like someone's been collecting their own supplies.
Bastard.
Well, we've got enough stock in the warehouse to keep the entire village going for months.
We should get a truck.
What, and go and get all of it now?
Yeah, why not?
It's Appleton. It's that bloody crackpot Stephen Appleton. I'm gonna fucking do him.
Sam, it's fine. We better get moving before the weather turns. You come in. We'll swing by the camp and get Rachel on the way back.
Looks like somebody was raiding supplies, but it doesn't look like they ever made it back. So I don't know why you'd have these supplies here. If it's food, again, I can't really zoom in to see, but I would think that it'd be food. Oh. I would think that it would be food. That's why else would they be pissed? It's like, oh no, my motor oil. My car weekly. We can't really think of anything creative, so just my car will work fine, whatever. So somebody was stealing supplies. Someone or someones. Or at least it's giving you the impression that someone was stealing supplies. The light could have been stealing them. Trying to turn them on each other. Alright, no weird marks on this one. Look, light ball, if you're gonna... Hey, shit or get off the pot. Don't just make weird noises at me. Pretty sure we haven't been here yet. Probably cannot open this. Nope. Alright. Oh, hello. I'm trying. There we go. I had to do the controller thing.
I saw you from the main road. Not many people are moving around now.
I was looking for Dr. Wade.
Listen, Frank. I don't know what's happened, but your Stephen seems to think he's responsible.
I reckon he is.
He said, Kate's still up at the observatory, but the gates are locked. Frank, there's going to be a rescue soon, I'm sure of it. They'll send planes or something.
Well, they'll send planes, all right. This pattern of his, we're in the center of it. Which means if they intend to stop it, we're right in the firing line.
Now, one thing I don't quite understand. Why do some of these, like, autoplay, but others I have to do that special thing with the controller? I don't tend to think... That's what I was looking for, was the light. I don't think that's an accident. I feel like there's a reason for that. And I'm trying to piece together in my head any commonalities between them. But I've already forgotten which ones I've had to do the motion with and which ones have just like auto-played. Well, specifically, I should try to remember the ones that I had to do the motion with. Whoa. Yikes. That's a lot of damn blood to be coming out of your nose. So assuming it's coming out of just the nose, hopefully it's not coming out of your eyeballs or mouth and other various orifices. Looked like he came in here to relax in the tub and keep himself somewhat clean before he dissipated. I also don't tend to think that the military did end up interacting. Because at the beginning, Kate did say something about, or Kate or Steven said something about calling in the force to, like, basically to nuke the place, but oh. Now that one's drastically different. Much shorter. That one is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very interesting. Why is that one different? Just kind of like I said, running these things through my head here.